Does anybody have any questions about the science fair?
No.
We good?
Yes.
All right, ready to walk?
Yes.
Thank you so very much. Here we go.
Hey. Hey, science lady. I don't know what your name is. I need some help. I got a question. Can you come in me? Science lady. Hey, lady. Come and ask a question.
Okay. I will help you with your question. What do you need?
How do experiment?
How do you do an experiment?
Experiment, what's experiment? Suppose I want to do popcorn.
You don't have to do popcorn. You can do something else if you want to.
Like
Pick
what?
something that you like.
I like boys.
No, we can't do an experiment with boys.
Okay.
You have to do an experiment for the science fair project.
We're going to the carnival.
No, it's not a carnival. It's not a carnival. It might be fun like a carnival, but it's not a carnival. It's a science fair project.
So what I do? How you do? You said something about experiment and a
A demonstration.
That's the word.
Okay, so you...
I need to know what's different.
A demonstration is a cool science thing. For example, like a volcano, and you add baking soda, and you add vinegar, and it goes psh. That's a cool science thing. That's a demonstration. An experiment is where you're trying to prove that something works better than something else, what makes something go higher, what makes something last longer. You're trying to prove something so that people can make a better choice. For example, if we did the baking soda in the vinegar, baking soda and vinegar makes a big explosion. But would it do the same thing if we used Sprite? So I gotta have my Sprite here. Now when we did just the demonstration, it was just baking soda and vinegar that we used for our volcano. We know that baking soda and vinegar, okay, fine, that's a really cool thing. But we want to figure out which one works better, vinegar or Sprite. Which makes the bigger explosion for our volcano. Now you have to do it at least 3 times. So I do the vinegar and the baking soda 3 times, and I have to record my data, which is your information you gather from your experiment. And I have to do the Sprite 3 times and record my data. So let's say that when I do the vinegar, it makes a big explosion and it goes 3 feet up, all right? Let's say when I do my Sprite, it goes 6 feet up or something like that. That would prove that Sprite makes a better volcano than vinegar. For the science fair, the demonstration, you can't win an award with the demonstration. Now your stuff will be there so we can see really cool science things, but if you want to get a medal or win an award or get 1st or 2nd or 3rd place or something like that, you have to have an experiment. But this one will get you in the fair. This one will be judged. This one will not be judged. So you have to be sure that you're doing an experiment and not a demonstration. So you have to think of something that you are interested in, something that you like, and you need to be sure it's something you can do and that your grown-ups are okay with and that you can afford, that if you need to go buy things, that you have enough money to get those things.
How I pick one of them to do the experiment?
How do you do an experiment? All right, let me show you the parts. You have to have your question, which is what you're trying to figure out. You have to have your hypothesis, and your hypothesis is a fancy word for what you think will happen, and you got to tell me why you think it'll happen. So you have your hypothesis, then you list your materials. Those are all the things you're going to need. Everything you're going to need to do the experiment. Then after materials, you list your procedure. And your procedure is how you do it. What steps did you take? What did you do to make the experiment happen? That's your procedure. Then after your procedure, you're going to collect your data. That's where you actually do the experiment and you write down the things that happen. So you have to have your data. And then you have to make a graph with your data. So I'm going to put data/graph. Then after you've done all that, you look at all the stuff you have and all the things you did and you think, so what happened? Well, then you write your results. And that's basically what happened when you did the experiment. And that's turning your data, which is usually numbers, into sentences and words. And then after your results, you write your conclusion. And your conclusion is where you put your hypothesis back in there and do what's called restate your hypothesis. You put it in your conclusion, and then your conclusion tells what you thought would happen and what really happened.
Oh, Lord, help me.
And you're going to research some things that are in your experiment and what you have to get some information about those things. And then somebody says, well, what are Mentos? Because those are the things that I used in my experiment, my candy. So I do a little research about what Mentos are. So I had to have some research. And the research didn't come from my brain. I got it off of the computer. So I have this thing called bibliography. Great big word. That's your references or your sources. So then you have to write down where you got your information from. Then for the science fair too, you have to have a title. What are you gonna call it? Try to make it something really cool. Call it something really neat. So people looking around and they see all the experiments and they see the title of yours and they're like, hey, I want to read that one. I want to check that out. So for the science fair, you also have to have a title.
Yeah.
Got to have all of that.
Do I need to have a picture? I mean, draw a crayon, take a camera, because you know I can't see too good. What I need to do to do the picture part? I need a picture.
Your project will have all the stuff written out of what actually happened, but when you take pictures, it lets people actually see a picture of what happened. It's kind of like when you read a book. Do you want to read a book that has all words in it, or do you want to read a book that has words and pictures? So pictures are a good thing to have in your project. It helps people understand what you were doing.
Miss White, what experiment do?
Due to me or your classroom teacher on February 8th. Turn it in on 8th.
And I'm going to get an A.
I hope so.
I'm going to get an
Okay. Thursday is the day it's going to be judged.
A. When the fair?
The fair is February 9th.
With the popcorn.
No popcorn. No popcorn.
Got
Science fair. And then Friday the 10th is the day that you take it back home. Yes.
So everybody coming?
Everybody in school's coming.
Okay. Science fair, February 9th. Be there. Ta-da!
A big thank you to all of the students who raised money for the Hoops for Heart campaign with the American Heart Association. This year we raised a total of
$457.
That is awesome. That will be able to help hundreds of sick children with heart disease. The student who raised the most money with a total of
$54.11
was
Leah Mahone in Miss Wright's class.
Thank you, Leah. You truly are a heart hero.
Now, for the big announcement. The class who won the movie, popcorn, and juice party is
Miss Wright's class. As a whole, they raised $267. You all worked extremely hard and did your absolute best. I cannot say thank you enough. Congratulations to all of you. Coach Ellis.
If you want to help raise money for the American Heart Association, you have another chance in February. We'll be sending out the pamphlets for Jump Rope for Heart in the next 2 weeks. Please find Coach Ellis if you are interested in participating.